Hey guys, welcome back to the Hez Project. I'm John Ordolaza, and today I'm going to be reviewing a brand new film, A Quiet Place Part 2. It is the sequel to the A Quiet Place from 2018, both directed by John Krasinski, starring Emily Blunt. So let's talk about it. I just got a chance to check out this film in theaters last night. Boy, did I have fun. It was probably the best film I've seen in theaters since returning to the theaters, I think with Nobody. That I didn't really care too much about that movie, but this was probably the best movie-going experience I've had since going back to the movies post-pandemic or end pandemic, because we're still kind of in the end game, you know. Don't worry guys, I'm not going to be spoiling the film for you in this video. I'm contemplating if I want to do a spoiler-filled review, but for now, in this video, spoiler-free, you're safe. Let's dig in. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is John Krasinski's second time directing a film, and I think in terms of the filmmaking aspect of this movie, it has raised the bar from the first one in so many incredible ways. From cinematography to sound design. Sound design in a movie where you're hiding from monsters that crave sound and will feed on your sound and will kill because you make a sound. They do such an amazing job designing the sound so that it makes you feel like you're living in this world through the eyes of the characters. In my opinion, I think Emily Blunt was that person for the audience. You watched and lived the movie through her eyes. In this movie, I don't necessarily think it's Emily Blunt. It's kind of the daughter. The daughter is kind of pushed in this forefront. I'm not saying forced in our faces, but she's pushed into this forefront of the main lead, and I think that was really cool. Now, if you remember from the first film, the character of the daughter is deaf, and she's actually played by a deaf actress, so I like that authenticity that John Krasinski brought to the role. I think when it comes down to the daughter, sound design is very key, and they do such a great job with that aspect of the film. They not only have you live in the world through her eyes, but her ears as well, because she's not completely deaf. She can hear loud sounds in the distance, but not necessarily like a snap of a finger right in front of you. So it creates more tension than the first film almost. In the first film, you have a family of 4, and 3 of which can hear perfectly fine, but none of them can make a sound, and that's their key to survival, is to not make any sound, little to no sound at all. This movie, the sequel, kind of puts the daughter at the forefront, the deaf daughter in the forefront, and it creates more tension because she can't hear if she's making noise, nor can she hear if one of the creatures is creeping up on her. I can't help but feel like the decision to push Millicent's character in the forefront was a really good decision. I think they did a good job. I still kind of wish we got more of Emily Blunt because she was really good in that first film, and she does kind of take a little bit of a backseat. I was afraid of that, and she kind of does. It's not like she's not doing anything in the film, but she's not as prominent as she was in the first. Again, I'm not spoiling anything, I'm just going through character motivations and behavior. I think the son was a little bit annoying in this film. I understand his situation and what was going on with him in the film, but I just can't help but feel like he was kind of an annoyance to me personally, like not to the family, but to me. This movie also introduces a new character played by Killian Murphy. I really do like this actor. He's been in a number of Christopher Nolan films, and I really do like him. He's a really good actor. I think he's starred in Peaky Blinders, which is a Netflix show. I've never seen it. I've just seen a lot of ads for it. It looks interesting. It looks like a period thing. I'm not really into period pieces that much. Do I think Killian Murphy kind of fits that role of the father figure? No, he's not actually John Krasinski's character because he's dead, and I don't think he necessarily fits that mold either. If I had to compare Killian Murphy's role in this film to John Krasinski's role in the first film, it's nowhere near as impactful. John Krasinski's role and his character in the film brought so much emotion and weight to the overall story and film. Killian Murphy's character does have a role in this world. It's not like it contradicts or retcons anything from the first film. It kind of fits perfectly, but he doesn't mean anything to me. He just seems like a guy that needed to fill the strong alpha male role of the film. Killian Murphy, again, is a great actor, but again, going toe-to-toe with John Krasinski's character of Lee as the father, it doesn't compute. It doesn't, there's no contest. Killian Murphy doesn't impact A Quiet Place Part 2 as much as John Krasinski's character impacted the first A Quiet Place. Again, no spoilers, I'm just gonna talk my thoughts on the plot overall. it is a bit anticlimactic. I get what they're going for. It's kind of splitting up the family in a sense. They're all doing their own thing. It's unfortunate because I think the family are at their best when they're together, but you know, it creates more thriller, horror scenes when they're separate. It creates more tension that way, so I understand why they went that route to make it more ambitious and horrific than the first one. I just can't help but feel like the story of the sequel is a bit unfinished. And that sounds crazy to say, because I was thinking about this yesterday, talking to my brother. This film is 2 hours and 15 minutes, and if I'm not mistaken, the first A Quiet Place is an hour and 40. It's pretty short. It's like significantly shorter than this one, like 25, 30 minutes shorter. When I rewatched A Quiet Place a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, this is very short. I don't remember it being that short. But it tells an effective story within that time span. This movie, I feel like it ends kind of abruptly. The movie feels like it's cut off at the end when the credits start rolling, and I just can't help but feel like it was a little bit jarring. I felt like we were in the middle, if not the very beginning of the end of the journey, and then it just ends. And that kind of blows my mind a little bit more because it's 30 minutes longer. I can't wait to watch it again and look at it and see what I think doesn't need to be there, because dude, there's gotta be something. There's gotta be something. I feel like the film abruptly ended, and it's not to say that the story that came before the ending was bad. I think it was a really good story, a really well-told story, just cut off. I would say the biggest positives that this film has going for it is score, cinematography, sound design overall. The acting in this film is really good. I don't think anything tops Emily Blunt's like 2 scenes in the first film when she steps on the nail and when she's in the bathroom giving birth very silently. But there are still really good performances sprinkled all across this film, and I think you should check it out. If you are a fan of A Quiet Place from 2018, you should go check this out because it's really good. Emily Blunt gives another great performance, and so do the kids. The kids do give really good performances. A deaf actress knocks it out of the park. Also, another positive of this film is the world building, because they introduce a lot of other cool things that the first film didn't have, and it doesn't go super overboard and pretentious like some films would do and be like, oh, well, this is gonna happen in my 4th movie, Zack Snyder. Well, yeah, it's Flash going through the portal, and he's talking to Batman, to Bruce, and he's warning him about like some shit that goes down in my 4th movie. You know, it's you guys will understand. You know, yeah. What the hell? With all my negatives aside, I'm looking forward to a 3rd installment to this franchise, and I do believe it was announced that a 3rd film, A Quiet Place Part 3, is in the works, but with a different director. It's not John Krasinski, it's going to be this guy named Jeff Nichols. He's going to be writing and directing the film, and I'm a little skeptical. I looked up his filmography last night when I heard that news, and the only thing I've heard about was a freaking Matthew McConaughey movie called Mud. And I don't know what that's about, but I've never heard the other movies, and I'm a little skeptical about that because I really do like what John Krasinski has done with the first 2 films and his flavor that he's slowly crafting as he's directing. I liked it, and I was really into it. I just hope that the overall tone and feel of the films don't change when we get to the 3rd film. That's my fear when it comes to changing directors in a franchise, is that the feel of the first film or the film that came before it is going to be lost. But that is it, guys. That is my review for A Quiet Place Part 2. Let me know down below, have you gotten a chance to check out the film yet, and are you going to? I highly recommend it. If you were a fan of the film from 2018, A Quiet Place, you're gonna like this one. I think you will. It's got the same suspense and thriller and the edge on your seat feel as the first one, so I highly recommend it. Be sure to stick around, guys, because I'm currently covering Star Wars The Bad Batch. I just posted my review of Episode 5, as well as I'm gonna be covering the rest of Superman and Lois and Loki that starts June 9th. So there's a lot of content, a lot of TV content coming to the Hess Project, so you might want to stick around because there's always more to come.